Hello, everybody. My name is Dana, or Troubles Bricking, and this is my AFOL life this week. I just realized after 15 minutes I have been yammering here to myself, thinking that I was streaming, but evidently I wasn't streaming. I clicked streaming on the OBS software, but I didn't click streaming on YouTube, so I'm just going to repeat everything I just did for the last 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So that being said, technically, so I'll even talk about this. So in the beginning of the stream, I talked about the fact that when you guys weren't here and I was yammering to myself, I decided to do this show off the cuff, very little preparation, just me, having a couple of notes and some ideas, very minimal prep time because I have a full-time job. And while I get to work at home and I get to build and do whatever and sort stuff like, I didn't want to have to devote a lot of time to this show because I didn't want to have to deal with like special effects and editing. And I mean, I've seen people who will spend like 10, 12 hours going through editing their broadcasts and stuff like that. I'm like, that's not what I want. I just kind of want to do this and share my thoughts, share what I'm doing, partly just in case anybody's curious. And also for myself, down the road when I'm, old and senile, I can go back and see what was I doing 50 years ago or whatever it was. So here we are, my AFOL life this week, October 1st, 2021. So let's talk about what's going on this week. It's October 1st, which means it's a release day for new Lego sets. Some sets may have been available at Walmart or Target earlier in the week. Because maybe they weren't paying attention to release dates or street dates. But the official Lego day is today, so the Lego store, shop at home, boom, all these new sets. Santa's Sleigh, N64, Fender Stratocaster, Mini Disney Castle, which I think is really cute, and I think I'm going to pick that one up. The Eternal sets, which I'm going to probably wind up getting all of those. I say I'm not, or I say I shouldn't, yeah, but I'm going to wind up. Batman Tumbler, probably gonna grab that too somewhere along the line because it'll go with the 1966 Batman. It's got the right scale. Winter Village is gonna be have to get. Queer Eye Loft looks like some great parts and pieces in there. If they're not available in Bricks and Pieces, I'll probably wind up buying that set just for the parts and the minifigures. Looks pretty great. And the old pickup truck's also coming out today. So lots of cool sets. Along with that, it means that there are giveaway with purchases for October. GWP, as we like to call it here in the trade. There will be 2 Harry Potter gift with purchases later in the month, which kind of look kind of neat. They're probably going to require you to buy Harry Potter sets to get them, so I probably won't wind up with them. Most of my giveaway with purchase acquisitions are either for the parts themselves or if it's a unique set that I really, really want. But other than that, most of them wind up getting tossed into a shelf for later selling, flipping, trading, who knows. Or, as I've been known to a couple of times, I need a part and it came in one set and that was the set, and so I'll open the box up and use the parts from that set. So who knows, I keep them on hand for that. There's also a little tiny Friends poly bag for some giveaway this month. A little diver poly bag that was released at the end of last year for the National Geographic city type stuff. I actually grabbed a couple of those. It's a great parts pack, great pieces. Very cheap. The Stingray that's in there is worth the poly bag alone. So you might want to grab that. The other thing that's weird is that there's a flying car giveaway with purchases coming out this month, and it looks like a Rainbow Warrior built it. And that is another term in the community, which stands for if somebody takes a bunch of different colored parts and builds something with, and it looks like a rainbow threw up on it or a unicorn threw up on it. Or unicorn pooped on it, however you want to look at it. It's just a weird spreading of colors, and it's a little flying car, so it looks like a Rainbow Warrior color. It's for the Rebuild the World promotion that LEGO's been running for the last couple of months throughout the year. So that'll also be available. I, however, am probably going to be holding out and waiting to get these parts or get these sets until later in the month because there's going to be a double VIP later in the month, and there's also going to be an AFOL day at the end of the month on the 30th, and we got these giveaway with purchases coming out, and that's kind of what I've been trying to steer myself to as a seasoned AFOL shopper, is that there are certain sets that I got to get on release day, and maybe there's a giveaway with purchase that comes out release day, and I'm going to go ahead and get that. But other than that, it's kind of best in your best interest to wait and strategize when you're going to buy certain things, because you're going to get your bang for your buck if you get the GWP. So it's kind of like free Lego. A discount is always great, or double VIP points that you could turn around and use later for, to pay for purchases. These are incentives, and if you maximize those incentives, you get your more bang for your buck. So that's what I'm waiting for later in the month. I'm hoping, I've done this in the past, that when double VIP points happen, I'm going to share a small trade secret here. Lego employees, people who work at the store, they get VIP points, but they get 50% off. And VIP points are only awarded towards the dollars you spend. So if you buy a $100 set and you're a Lego employee and you get it for $50, you only get 50 VIP points. If it's double VIP points, then you get 100 VIP points. So you actually get your regular VIP points during double VIP point time. So the nice thing is that some Lego employees, who they get an allotment every year of how much they can spend. I forget, depending on the employee, depending on your years there, depends on how much you get to spend. But they don't often spend it all. It's, some people do, some people don't. But those who don't will oftentimes allow you to take advantage of taking advantage is probably a harsh term. Allow you to utilize their discount in exchange for the WVIP points. So you get no VIP points because you're using it under their purchase, and you give them cash to buy what it is you're looking for, thus getting the deepest discount that you can get as a non-Lego employee. So hopefully one of my Lego employee friends that I've been gracious enough to have been partaking of their discount will allow me to do this again later in the year. If not now in October, maybe in November, when they have a better idea of how much they have left to spend. So hopefully I'm going to take care of doing that. But time will tell. Moving on to acquisitions. So Monday I went and did some work with the Bricker Builds guys. And while I was over near one of their houses to work on some stuff, I stopped into the Lego store and got some pick-a-brick. They had these great 8x8 base plates. 2 cups, stacked them in there, not quite this way, but and then filled them in with 1x8 blue bricks, and then smattered in there with some 1x1 tiles and tan and some funky masonry curly bricks and some little gray fenders. 2 pick-a-brick cups, boom, boom, I'm in, I'm out. Granted, I really wasn't in and out because it was Matthew's birthday. He was there. We got chit-chatting a little bit, but that's another thing. So did that, and then I had to go to the grocery store late one night. My wife needed something, and it was late. And I'm like, I'll go. And I love my Kroger. My Kroger is like a vacation destination. If it had an area to nap in, it would be perfect. I mean, that's the only thing that is missing, because it has a huge toy aisle. It's got an aisle and a half of toys. It's got a huge clothing section. I get some great T-shirts there, graphic tees. Their health and beauty section looks like it was like you walking into a Macy's or a Marshall Fields. It's just huge. It's crazy. It also looks like a Williams-Sonoma popped up in my grocery store, along with the fact that they have a bar. I mean, it's not a bar. There's no alcohol, but there is beer and wine that you can sit and tables and while you're shopping. I don't necessarily think you can carry it around with you, but there's a section for you to sit and enjoy beer or wine. And on top of that, there's a Starbucks. So, I mean, really, it is a vacation destination. It is fantastic. But not a lot of people realize that there's a toy store section in this Kroger. So a lot of times things will just sit there and sit there and sit there, and they won't sell. Case in point, the video Bandmates. There was a case of these figures sitting there for months. I mean, literally, since like January or February, this case of figures has been sitting there. There may have been 2, and I think some did sell. And the reason I think that, because as I walked into the clearance section, I found 22 of these sitting there on the shelf for $1.75 a piece. Yes, $1.75 a piece. I grabbed all 22 of them. Put them in the back, put them in my little basket, took them to the checkout, and they came home with me. Great deal. Usually like $5, I think it was $5 or $6, $5.99, $4.99, $5.99, I think, originally. So I think that even says it on here. What was the retail price on these? Well, actually it says $3.99, but I know that was dropped down from what it originally was too. So who knows? But those are great figures, great parts. If I don't use them, I'll turn around, sell them, flip them, trade them, whatever. So it's a good, great little deal. The last thing I did for acquisitions this week is I got in a pick-a-brick or a bricks and pieces order from Shop at Home. And so this is the bag of parts I got today. It looks like a unicorn pooped in a bag and they sent it to me. And that's what this looks like. So as I flip it out here, you can see here lots of pastel sand blue, aqua, light bright yellow, these tiles with the printing on them. I've been wanting those, so those were great to grab. I think I grabbed like 5 or 6 bags of those. Some dark green I'm going to use, some teal for another mock. Good parts. And these bright light green ones here, bright green ones here are going to be used for the bright green habitat. That'll actually give me the last few pieces I need for that build. So I'm looking forward to finishing that sometime this weekend, and I will share it later in the week. Now let's talk about my builds this week. First and foremost, I went to Bricker Builds, and I was working with them on Monday. I can't show you what I built because it hasn't been revealed yet. So I did a time lapse build. So they had a table, and actually here, let me show you. We have a table that was set up in front of the cameras. And screen share. Here we go. So you can see there was a table, parts all out on the table, plates and bricks. I had a camera here on a sliding bar that as it would take pictures, it would slide along, and then another stable camera here that was pointing straight at the table where the plate was. And I built the sculpture on this base plate, and so that, once they do all the time lapse and stitch it all together for a video, you'll see me quickly building, and it'll look real cool when it's done. The only drawback to this was, and I had my laptop here, is that I wasn't building it off of a PDF of instructions. I actually had to build it from a studio file. It had created the instructions inside of it, but it wouldn't been tweaked, and so it would have been difficult to just click because I hadn't finished the instructions completely. So I had to build it from within Studio instead of going step by step in a set of instructions. So it took me about 4.5 hours. The last half hour, or a little bit of the half hour that I say 4.5, is that I actually had to go back and fix something when I realized about halfway, or not halfway, about 3/4 through the build, I noticed that I made a mistake earlier in the build, and so I had to go back and correct it. But in the grand scheme of things, it came out perfect, looks cool. I'm excited for them to release this. It will look cool when they get to it. My other builds this week, of course, would be, let me flip over here to the right screen because these were out of order. First build that I did this week, of course, was the bright light blue monochrome habitat. This was one of the first ones that I did in Studio because I didn't have all the bricks to build it, mainly the walls. I had all the flowers and the half tiles, or the little quarter circle tiles, and the minifigure, and of course the dolphin. This was one of those ones where, again, it was the minifigure, the dolphin itself, that said, I got to do something with this dolphin, because there's not a whole lot of accessories in this color, and so the dolphin was just the inspiration for this build. And I knew I had all these flowers. I'm like, well, those will look cool, kind of coral tuber type things, and the unicorn horns on the top just kind of top it off, and using the flowers to move the dolphin up into the air, and the minifigure holding onto it kind of gives that illusion of them swimming through the ocean. I actually call this one, I'm calling this one Blue Lagoon, as it were. Not to be confused with Brook Shields. But the next build I finished also this week because I'd gotten some sand green parts that I didn't show somewhere along, like the telescopes, these sand green telescopes. I got a nice handful of those off the pick-a-brick wall. When I say handful, I mean like a huge bag of them. as I was saying earlier, that most of the mounted habitats, they take their inspiration from the accessories or, with the minifigure. This one, it was all about this sand green dragon jaw. I got this in a bulk buy at some point in time. I don't think the rest of the dragon was in there because there wasn't a whole lot of sand green pieces and the pieces that should have shown up with that dragon. So it was probably that dragon jaw and a couple other pieces along the way. But the piece just kind of hit me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something creative with this because there isn't a whole lot of sand green pieces to be creative with. And so this one kind of gave me the inspiration to make it kind of like this doorway or monolithic statue behind the minifigure. And then from there, everything just kind of fell into place. I had one little T-Rex or baby T-Rex in sand green, so I threw him in there, and then I got in a couple of snakes off the bricks or the build a minifigure wall recently. So I'm like, I'll throw in a sand green snake, and I'm always a big fan of the little micro minifigure statues, so those of course had to go in there. And luckily, I had enough sand green ski poles to line across the top. Fun build for me. Last but not least, I also did the flat silver one, which I just finished last night. I normally don't try to do 3 of these in a week, but I was so excited with the way this one was coming together that I couldn't wait to share it because there are not a lot of bricks. Well, actually, there are no flat silver bricks. There are flat silver plates with door rails on them, and you get, a 1x1 with this little fin out of it. And that's it. I had to cheat and use a dark gray base plate at the bottom, which is the same thing Cast Market did. So we're going to call it good. But I didn't want to go through. There was a piece of resistance from the Lego movie that you can get in flat silver. It came in Benny's Spaceship. They go for a couple, like at least $1 or more. And if you want several of them, you're gonna, the price racks up pretty quickly. So I didn't want to have to go that route. So I was really happy with the fact that I had the idea to take the rail plates and slide an ingot into it to kind of give this wall appearance to it too. And when I was doing that, I thought about, well, what about trying to stack a 1x1 round tile or plate in there to give that exposed inverted stud? And it worked. So here, I think I've got a picture. Yep, here's a closer picture of that technique. I stacked a couple of round plates too high to give it the space, and as you can see here, the ingot slides right in there. The ingot slides in there with literally no friction. I mean, they will shoot out if you tilt the mock the wrong direction. So those will probably fall out when I transport it, but they sit in there pretty nice. And then the 1x1 round plate, the Lego math is on for this because it sits in there just right. It's a little wonky, because again, the stud on the top is jammed in, or is basically held in place by those other 4 round plates behind it, but it stays in place. And as you can see from the mock itself, I was able to mount the guns to the side of them and add all these other greeblies onto it to give it that look. And then I was able to tack another stud or 2 studs in front of these silver spider things that came in the Nexonite sets, which was kind of cool. Also, I found out something kind of rare. These little pyramids, these little 1x1 pyramids in flat silver, they have only been released in Nexonite sets. When you go look at them and you pull up these flat silver little pyramids, they are only in Nexonite sets. I thought that was really interesting. Now, granted, they've made them in other colors and they come in other sets, but just the fact that the flat silvers were only released in Nexonite sets is really interesting. So that is my builds for the week that I've done. Next week, you saw I got some pick-a-brick or bricks and pieces orders, so that's definitely going to be my my focus for as far as that goes. Probably going to be bright green, maybe dark green, and maybe sand blue. I don't know if I've got the plates to make the base for the sand blue. So that one might have to go till the following week because I'm gonna have to do some digital builds this week to line up. I know I've got my magenta one digitally built, and I need some pieces for that one. So maybe I'll try to do a couple more digital builds so I can get a nice list of pieces to order off of Bricklink, maximize my shipping. So that's going to be going on. And then I think I talked about this last week, I've got this huge big box back here on the floor that has, I think it's like 7,500 pieces. It's about the same amount of pieces as a UCS Millennium Falcon, so that I can build and glue together. When I say glue, I mean use acetone to glue the pieces together for the Italian plumber, Mario. He's going to stand about, I want to say he stands about this high, about that tall. So I should hopefully have a good chunk of him done by next Friday. That's my plan, because I think they need him to go to a convention in 2.5 weeks, give or take. So I gotta crank that bad boy out. If I've got some training classes to listen to next week, so I can multitask by listening to those training classes and working on Mario at the same time. So that's for next week. Now that brings us to our closing segment, the rare part of the week. This was something I was trying to get together before I got online, and then I was going to be late, and then I was wanting on being 15 minutes late because I forgot to hit the right button, and I still didn't even get the picture together what I wanted to do. So I will show you the piece I'm talking about at the same time, as opposed to having a picture. But this week's rare part of the week is the trans clear minifigure shield with round stud. As you can see right here. There's 2 of them right here on the mobile ground tracking station, which was set $452 here in the United States. If you were in someplace else in the world, it was probably set $894. I think this set came out in 1978, 79, 78, somewhere in there. Classic Space, of course. Only set. This is the only set that they come in trans clear. There were 4 other sets that they came in trans red, which were all Classic Space sets. And there were 9 other sets that they came in old dark gray, which were all Castle sets, so you Castle fans. But in trans clear, they only came in this one set. So definitely a rare piece, definitely an old piece, because we're looking at 40 plus years old since this part was released. And they've held up in pretty good shape. I think I found both of mine while sorting bulk, so I didn't have to pay the secondhand price for these pieces. Another reason why this set actually goes for a decent amount is specifically because of these 2 pieces. Because these 2 pieces here, right here, they go for about $15 a piece. That's right. These little dishes go for $15 a piece. In red, they go for about $10 a piece, and in dark gray, they go for about $5 a piece. But on here, $15 a piece. So $30 in just these 2 pieces on this set. I think this set alone goes for like $40 or $50, and that means that these 2 pieces here are the bulk and the brunt of the price you're paying for the set. Possibly minifigure, probably another $5 on top of that, and the rest of the parts together. Pretty common. Nothing, if you get some good, make sure you get good printed on your printed Classic Space pieces. Those will also run you get a couple of bucks here and there, depending on the price. But that is our rare. I was going to say old Gary Briggs. That is our rare part of the week. The trans clear minifigure shield round with stud. Part number 3876. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of My AFOL Life this week for October 1st, 2021. As my good friend Kazoom says, be awesome. Build awesome, and love your neighbor, and go out and get your shots. And if you're not wearing a shot, for gosh darn it, wear a mask. So until next week, I'll see you then.